So, my 2020 Super Duty just hit 7,500 miles. It's time for its first oil change. In today's video, I'm going to go over how to do an oil change on a 2020 Plus F250 or F350 6.7 diesel. Should be a really informative video, so let's get started. Before we get into the oil change, I want to talk about three other important things that you really need to do at every oil change. So the first thing that you should do is rotate your tires. I rotated my tires 2 days ago, and let me tell you, the truck is driving so much better. It's driving straighter, it's a lot smoother, so it's really important that you just get in that habit of rotating the tires every 7,500 miles, something like that, or whenever you do your oil change. Second thing I want to talk about is filling up your DEF tank. The DEF tank size on a 2020 Plus Super Duty is 7.5 gallons. Now, I never let it get too low. Like when it gets to in between a quarter and a half tank, I'll throw a 2.5 gallon jug of DEF in there. It's around that range right now, so I'm gonna throw at least one jug of DEF in there. So that's just something that you need to kind of be wary of. But the engineers at Ford kind of designed it so that you only had to fill up that tank at every oil change. So it's kind of up to you how you want to handle that, but just make sure you keep on top of that. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about, I was reading in the owner's manual that at every oil change, you want to be sure to grease your U-joints. Right behind the front tires, right behind the hubs, there's U-joints there, and there's grease fittings on those. Before we proceed, again, I want to mention that this is only for the 250 and 350 diesels. This is not a video for the gas trucks. So the first question I want to answer is, what viscosity oil should you get? Now, if you open up your owner's manual to page 453, you have SAE viscosity grades. So what oil you need to use is going to depend on a few factors. First off, what climate you're in. They have temperature ratings down here, and it also depends on what type of driving you're going to be doing. Like, are you going to be doing heavy towing or, just normal average Joe driving? So Ford recommends for normal driving conditions, normal usage, they recommend a 10W30. Now, I decided to go with a 5W40 because it better matches my climate temperatures. And also, I'm doing a bit of heavy towing, so that just suits my applications a lot better than the 10W30. If we turn the page, we can also see how much oil our truck requires, and that is 13 quarts, which equates to 3.25 gallons. So here are the jugs of oil I decided to go with. I decided to go with the Shell Rotella T-Sick Full Synthetic Oil, extreme temperature rated. I've heard really good things about this oil, so I'm going to give this a try. Also, another thing that I want to point out is if you're going from a gas truck to a diesel truck, it's important that your engine oil that you buy for your truck is rated for a diesel engine. Shell makes it really easy to identify because they'll post pictures of heavy-duty trucks on their heavy-duty engine oil, and it also says down here heavy-duty diesel engine oil, so just make sure that you get diesel engine oil. And also, it's important that you check to make sure that the oil coincides with what your manufacturer recommends as an appropriate engine oil. Shell T6 synthetic heavy-duty diesel oil is approved by Ford to be used in our trucks, so you're safe there. Now, I decided to get 2.5 gallon jugs because that was just a cheaper way to go than buying gallon jugs. And this is going to mean that I'm going to have some leftover oil in case I need to add some over time, between now and the next oil change. Or I'm just going to use the leftover for the next oil change. So I recommend going this way, a little bit easier to deal with. Along with the engine oil, of course, you're going to need an engine oil filter. I decided to go with the K&N. For my 2020 F250 6.7, the part number is HP-4005, and this is a really nice filter. And my favorite thing about it, it is a product of the USA. Now, the reason I decided to go with a K&N over Motorcraft is I was reading some horror stories online that there was a bad batch of Motorcraft engine oil filters out there, so people would put the Motorcraft filters on their truck and they'd start leaking from the O-rings. I've heard nothing but good things about the K&N, so I'm going to give the K&N a try here. And of course, along with the engine oil, you're going to need an oil filter wrench. And I'm not sure what size the oil pan bolt is. I'm guessing it's 5/8, but I'll confirm that when I go under the truck. Helpful to have a creeper, piece of cardboard so you don't get oil on your driveway, and also some oil catch pans. Now, we're going to be draining 3.25 gallons out from this truck. I'm not 100% sure this has the capacity to capture all that oil. If it doesn't, I have that secondary bin down there, so just be prepared for that. First things first, I recommend popping the hood and removing your oil fill cap. I feel like this just helps to allow the oil to drain out of the engine a bit easier. Okay, so the easiest way to access your engine oil filter and oil pan is underneath the passenger door of the truck. It's a lot easier to go in this way as opposed to going in from the front of the truck, especially if you're at stock height like me. So here we are. This is your engine oil filter. Here's your engine oil pan, and I can confirm that this bolt is 5/8. So I have my oil catch pan ready to go and my overflow bucket in case this oil catch pan gets filled up. That's ready to go. Now let's crack open this 5/8 bolt and we'll start draining some oil. So far so good. This oil catch pan does seem to have the capacity to completely drain the engine oil from this truck. That's good. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this old engine oil filter with this engine oil filter wrench, and you just want to spin this counterclockwise. I'm happy that the people at Ford didn't put this thing on here too tight. It's coming off just like it should. So once you get it hand loose, you're going to spin it a little bit, get your oil catch pan ready, because after you crack it, it's going to drip a little bit. Yep, there she goes. Good idea to have some paper towels or shop towels on hand. So I'm just going to let that drip itself dry. Oh, yep. Wow. Very, very messy job. I've been scolded in the past for not pre-filling my filter, so I'm going to make you guys happy. I'm going to pre-fill my new filter with engine oil. Now, I did take this under the truck a moment ago. That's why you see a little bit of dirty oil on there. And I just wanted to be sure that this spun onto the truck. And I can confirm that this is a proper fit, so this is the proper filter for this truck. I've also outlined in paint marker today's date and how many miles are on the truck, so just a good thing to do for the next guy, which will be me. Now it's time to spin on the new oil filter that is pre-filled with engine oil. So what I like to do, I like to twist this to the left just until I hear it click, and then I spin it to the right. And that just helps prevent the filter from getting cross-threaded. Get it on there by hand. Take your strap wrench and just gently tighten it up. Really not putting much force on that at all. That should be good right there. Take a clean rag, wipe off any residue oil, make it look nice. Kind of disappointed when I tightened that up, it peeled off some of the paint off this thing. Oh well. Now I can also reinstall our 5/8 inch oil pan drain bolt. Same thing with this oil pan drain bolt. I want to get this thing snug. Don't want to over torque it. That should be fine right there. Then again, same thing. Wipe off any oil that may have gotten on any of the surrounding areas. Take your funnel, put it in the oil fill hole, and the first 2.5 gallons you can just dump right in this thing. The reason why we can dump the first 2.5 gallons of oil directly in this engine is because this engine calls for 13 quarts. 2.5 gallons equates to 10 quarts. So after we finish dumping this in, then we're going to need to add about 3/4 of a gallon more oil in the engine. Again, that's 3 quarts, and that'll bring us to 13 quarts needed to fill this truck up. Alright, shooting for about 3 quarts here. Pretty close, gotta add a little bit more here. Check the dipstick one more time after this, and if we're in range, fire her up, check the dipstick one more time, and we should be in good shape once you go to Walmart. Gotta say, I'm happy with that. Looks good. Place the oil fill cap. We'll fire this truck up. Check the oil level one more time here. And I don't see anything on there, so we need to add more engine oil. That's why you check. See, that's dry. Before I started up the motor, it looked like it was topped off, so we definitely got to add some more here. Looks good to me. Just to be sure, I'm gonna cycle the truck through one more time and check it. That is perfect. We'll leave it at that. I'm not sponsored by Shell, but I think this T6 synthetic stuff is really good stuff. The truck just sounds so smooth right now. Definitely running a lot smoother after this oil change. You need to go to your maintenance monitor, which can be found in, for my truck, go to display mode, oil life, and then to reset your oil life, press and hold the OK button on the steering wheel. Now our oil life is back to 100%. Take a quick peek underneath the truck, make sure we don't have any major leaks. Everything looks good so far. And that concludes today's video on how to change the engine oil on a 2020 Plus F250/350 6.7 liter diesel motor. Thanks for watching. If you guys found this information helpful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Is there something you would have done differently? Let me know.